What's up? What's going on, guys? Get situated here. Good to be back. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, I don't know. It's good to be back with you all. I would say it's been a hectic week, but I will be lying. It hasn't been a hectic week in terms of like a lot of things going on. We've really been only doing one thing. If you remember from my last video, I told you that on the 5th week, we'll be testing for our CDL, and that's what we have been doing. CDL comes in 3 parts. CDL test comes in 3 parts. Your pre-trip or your vehicle inspection, your backing test, and your road test. Those are the 3 parts. Now, within those parts, right, there are sections somewhat. Like your vehicle inspection, there's your external vehicle inspection, your in-cab inspection, and your air brake test. Those 3 tests amount to the vehicle inspection. And so, you gotta, that's what we've been working on. That's what I've been working on ever since Monday. And then today we got to kind of start learning the different reference points and different techniques on the backing part. But I do take my pre-trip test tomorrow, and I'll have more information about it. But what I wanted to do was kind of post a video today explaining a couple of things about how it's been going. So Schneider, I mentioned before, Schneider's been having some pretty, at least here in Charlotte, some pretty massive classes, upwards of like 20 plus. And they have right now about 3 examiners. And because of that, everybody's coming in off of their, they're 2 weeks out with their trainer, and they're coming back and they're going straight into testing for their CDL if they don't have one already. They're testing for the CDL, and that kind of creates a little bit of a bottleneck. I think they've been handling it well. So us 5th weekers, that is what we're called, the 5th weekers, when we come back from our TE training the past 2 weeks, when we come back on that Monday, this past Monday, specifically for me, we start on our pre-trip. And the pre-trip consists of, they say it's like 100 things you got to touch and say, and you won't notice it because it's like going really fast, but it can be from afar a lot. I wouldn't say get it in your head. And so I'm going to give you a couple of tips here. One, don't get in your head about it. It might seem like a lot, and it might be a lot, but just like with anything, with practice makes it easier, and we have a lot of time for practice. Like I said, that's the only thing we've been doing for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then tomorrow, Thursday, we'll be testing. I don't know how, like, it might be for a sooner case for you. Like, you might come in on, because of your class size, you might come in on Monday and be able to test on Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday, because you need 2 days from your schedule point. So if I got scheduled on Monday, I won't be able to test until Wednesday because I need 2 days for that to be, I guess, hit the system or whatever. So with that being said, number one, like, don't get in your head about it. Like, just take your time, use the time you have, just like with backing, using the space you have, use the time you have to your advantage, and practice. They actually give you, within the 2nd week of being here in the orientation, they give you a piece of paper. Now, it's the Schneider way. So, whereas there's 100 things you got to say for the actual DOT test, there's, the Schneider way, it might be 200 to 300. But if you get the Schneider way, you will ace the DOT way. If you do the Schneider pre-trip, which, could take a while, but, take a while to do, but, as you're going through it, like I said, it becomes, with practice, it becomes easier, right? If you do it the Schneider way, the DOT test is a breeze. There's a couple of things you would have to adjust in your saying But if you know the Schneider way, if you have that down pack, I will tell you now, there's no worry about it. You don't have to worry about it at all. Don't get in your head about it. Just make sure from the time that they give you that book. So when you get to Schneider on the first day of orientation, they're going to give you, I don't have it with me, it's in my car, but they're going to give you a book. It's called The Highways to Success. That book, I mean, it has everything in it. And I think chapter 9, it goes over your pre-trip, I believe. But you'll find it in there. It goes over your pre-trip. Then on your second week, all you do is pre-trip. I mean, you do pre-trip in the morning, you do pre-trip before you leave, then you do backing and everything out in the yard. I explained that in one of my earlier videos, but they give you another sheet that it's an actual checklist. You can make a copies of it, so you can actually check yourself off doing it, right? So I mean, they have that at your what do you call it, disposal as well. A checklist. So that's on the second week. So you actually have Schneider's way to do your pre-trip on really your first week with the Highways to Success, but definitely by your second week, you have it by that second week. And then you go on your 2 weeks with your trainer. Hammer it down there. You have the materials. Hammer it down. This is a tip for you. Get into the if your trainer, I'm not going to talk bad about any trainers or anything, but you know, hammer it down. Like, get out there a little bit early before your trainer gets out there. Go through everything on your pre-trip. Like, check everything. Don't take anything. Don't take the time out there or the freedom with your trainer as advantage. Some of them might actually make you do it, but you know, you should do it anyways. Like, get in the habit of doing it, because it's very important. You don't want to be out there on the highway and have something go wrong when you have all the time in the world. Well, maybe not all the time, but you definitely have time available to check it out before you actually get behind the wheel and driving and putting, you know, yourself and other people at risk, you know. So definitely, you know, when you're out on your 2 weeks, hammer it down. When you get your Highways to Success, the book, Highways to Success, read it. Don't just use it as a, what do you call it? Don't just use it just to prop up a table or something. You know, read it. It's very good info in there. It's very, very good info in there. Everything in that book, it's not like reading the encyclopedia where, yes, there's a lot of information in it. A lot of it, 99% of it, you're not going to use. In that book, I guarantee you 99% of it you're going to use. If you plan on having a career in this industry, that book is your Bible. You want to read it. You want to study it. You want to know it, memorize it, and actually practice it. Make it practical. Because that's what it is. It's very practical. So yeah, hammer that down. And that's way when you come back from your 2 weeks, you'll know the pre-trip. So the things they're telling you, you've been doing for weeks now. You've been doing for nearly a month. So it's very easy. But that's what we've been doing since Monday. The video that is going to transition to out of this is going to show, you know, it's just going to show a little bit of the yard and a little bit of my classmate kind of rehearsing the pre-trip a little bit, and me going over a section of it as well. I just wanted to throw those in because I thought it was, you know, I don't think it's fun, but I think it's, you know, it's interesting. You know, it's interesting learning kind of like how things work, and by doing the pre-trip and by knowing like what this does and what this does, I think that's interesting. So I'm gonna post those videos. One thing I will mention, I'm gonna post those videos like in a mashup video, probably like a little bit later tonight. Just, you know, it'll just have the title, maybe like rehearsing our pre-trip or something like that. But one thing I do want to mention is that don't get upset when you get to your 5th week and you find out they don't require what they require for the actual test is different from Schneider's way. Don't get upset. Don't ask the question, well, why are they teaching us this way when all that's required is lesser? That I don't like that question, and I don't like that mindset. All right, one, I don't like the question because there's always a method to the madness here. Schneider's didn't get this big for, out of the blue. Two, I don't like the mindset is because that's just, for me, that's just let me explain it this way. Think about it like you're back in elementary school or grade school, and you're in a math class, and the teacher asks you on the test to show your work, and you just went out of your way and showed all of your work. Now you have an expansive way of solving the problem, and it might take up a page or two. She's not going to give you any, extra points for the extra, showing extra work or whatever. You're not going to get any extra points. You're not going to get deducted any extra points because you came to the right answer, right? You just tackled that problem in a different way that might be longer than, the rest of the people. But you can fully explain how you got there and in detail how you got there. You know how that problem is solved. You know how it works and everything. You can apply that same situation or that same example to why Schneider is giving you all this information, giving you all these steps so you can know what is happening, so you can know how this part works, so you could understand, your coolant radiator, your radiator coolant reservoir, or your intercoolant reservoir should be at a certain level. Your water pump, you should be looking at that. You should know it's belt driven. You should know how much play it should have. You should know how much your slack adjuster goes into your push rod. You should know how much play that should have. You should know the parts of your suspension. You should know everything about your truck, because it is your truck. You're behind the wheel. You're the captain of your ship. And so I don't like that mindset of, why is the Schneider way longer or more expansive than the actual way that, you're tested for. And that's because Schneider wants you to be more knowledgeable and more safer. Knowledge is safe. They want you to be more safe on the road, and I respect that. And it's a great way to kind of become a more experienced and better driver. Just, they'll never I will tell you now, you get in front of that instructor and he's testing you and on your pre-trip, and you're just calling out everything. It might take a while. It might frustrate him, honestly, but he's not going to tell you to stop. Because it's just as long as you make sure you hit the points that you are supposed to. And if you're doing it the correct way, Schneider's way, there you will. Just don't have that mindset going into it. I want to know the basic minimum. I want to do the basic minimum to get by, because that's the mindset that it reminds me of. I want to just do the basic minimum to get by, because the basic minimum will get you the basic minimum. If you put in the basic minimum, I promise you will get the basic minimum. You think you're happy with getting the basic minimum, you are in for a rude awakening, because the basic minimum will not keep you in this career. You will be wondering why you spent all that time in orientation, training, going out on the road and everything, and then you end up hating the job. It's because you're not putting into it what you want out of it. So just keep that in mind. I don't want to preach to you. I just wanted to throw that in there. But definitely throw your questions, comments down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace.